Hey guys, it's Mama G back again. This lesson is for my junior high and my high schoolers. So this is going to be something different than what we've been doing before. So you'll notice I don't have this set up right over top of the surface that I'm working on. You're seeing right now the beginnings of a setup for a still life. So you guys are going to do a still life, but it's not going to be your old boring still life where I set up something for you and say, everybody draw this. No, you guys get to pick out what you want for your still life. But there are some rules, always some rules. So let me tell you what those are, and then I'll tell you why I've picked what I have, and I'll also include on this so that you can download a sheet that tells you what parameters, what things to follow. So first of all, we're going to keep it simple. So if you have something really complicated, like you have made the Death Star out of Legos, no, don't include that in your still life. It's just too difficult right now. Or let's say you have what else could we pick that's really difficult? Let's say even a soccer ball. Believe it or not, a soccer ball can be really difficult when you're trying to get the pattern on it. So if something has a lot of pattern to it or it has a lot of intricate details, we don't want that. We want to keep it pretty simple. So simple is the key. The second thing is you need at least 3 items. And you see I have 3 items here. I have this gnome that actually is my accountant's and I'm supposed to be repairing it, but I kind of like it beat up like this. And I have picked a bird salt shaker, and I've picked this little clay pot right here. So those are the 3 things I've picked. Now, why did I pick those 3? Well, you're going to notice if you look at kind of the parameters again, I want 3 things that are different. So I'll show you what I mean here. If I had taken and had each of these kind of similar, like let's say I take the gnome out of here. Oh, you're seeing my messy kitchen. Oh, don't look over there, okay? Okay, let's say I took the gnome out and I'm left with my bird. Okay, so I got my bird. And let's say I decided, oh, you know what? I really like the bird and I like this garlic that I had gotten for my daughter and it got lost in the back of the van, so she didn't have it. And let's say I'll pick the salt shaker right here. Okay, now I've got 3 totally separate items, but they are not different enough to make a really interesting composition here. And a composition is just the way you put things together. So if I look at it, the bird and the garlic are almost the exact same size and almost the exact same shape. And when I put the salt shaker in there, yeah, it's a little bit taller, but it's not much different than the other ones. It's got a different shape to it, but the height's not a lot different. So when you pick these things, what I'd like to see is that you pick something that is 3 different shapes and 3 different heights. So that's why I picked the bird. Oh, it's hard to videotape this and move around. Okay, and I picked that. Those are definitely 2 different sizes, 2 different shapes. So we have a small, a medium, and then we put that big guy in there, and there is our large. So now I have 3 different shapes. I have 3 different sizes, 3 different kinds of objects. Perfect. Now I said keep it simple, and you can see, okay, this gnome is going to be a little bit more difficult because he's got some interesting stuff going on. He's not just one flat shape. He's got some form and depth to him, but he doesn't have a lot of pattern on him, a lot of pattern on his clothing. Now this piece right here has some pattern on it, and I'm going to have to decide as I do this if I want to include those leaves on there or not, if that's going to be too distracting. The bird doesn't have a lot going on, so I don't mind that bird. So those work good for me. Again, if I pick something that has a lot of details, it's going to get really frustrating. So there's my 3 things that I've picked, and you'll see the background. My background, I just put up this piece of illustration board. I happen to have a black piece of illustration board from Olivia. I know most of you guys aren't going to have that. And then I had this little black piece down here to sit on. What I'd like you to do is I want something behind it and under it that is plain, absolutely plain. It can be a sheet. And when, you know, off your bed, you can take and put a sheet on there as long as it doesn't have a pattern on it. So no pattern on it and not a lot of texture to it because I don't want to take away from what we already have. So something very plain for the background and something plain for underneath it. Could be a tablecloth. It could be a brown paper bag. It could be just about anything. You could put, if you had a black t-shirt, you could put the black t-shirt behind it as long as it didn't have any writing on it. I want that to be plain, what's under it and behind it. you can see I've stood up the one behind it here. I'm taking you around. I put some tape on it to hold it up, and you'll see my nice, again, dirty kitchen, and you'll see I have just put a bunch of junk behind it to hold that up. So it's not gonna be falling down on me when I go to do this. We're not actually gonna draw it right now. Once you get it set up, you're gonna take a picture of it. But I'm gonna tell you today how to get it set up. And then in the next lesson, after you guys have sent me the pictures, I'm going to show you how I would go about drawing it too. So and this is going to help because a lot of times we do still lives and we'll draw them right as we are sitting there. And that is awesome and is a really good skill to learn. But what I mostly want you to get is how to create a strong composition and then how to capture that composition with dramatic lighting. We'll learn another time how to do a still life live, if you can understand that. Okay, so here we go. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to arrange these for your photograph. What I want you to do is think about arranging them so that they are not static. And when I say static, of course they're not moving around. But if you look at this, all three of them are about the same distance apart. Boring. Okay, I don't want them lined up like little ants that are really predictable here, little marching army ants. I want there to be some sort of interaction between them. So I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to make him a little closer, and I want something to overlap. Okay, when I say overlap, there's going to be part of him hidden. So I am hiding his foot right now, and I'm going to take my bird and I'm going to put it right up here. Okay, so now they're sort of interacting with each other, even though they're not interacting. If I stand at the right place, like over here, there's no overlap. But if I stay over here, you can see part of his toe is kind of getting lost behind there. Matter of fact, I'm going to move it even behind more. Boom. Okay, so now I have some overlap. That means it's going to show me, create some depth and some interest in there. I can tell, because there's overlap, that this gnome is behind everything, not beside it. He's behind it, and these things are in front of it. So kind of interesting. Now, right now, it's just being lit by overhead, and that's okay, but it's pretty evenly lit. There's not a lot of strong shadows. So what I want, except for cast shadows, so I want to create some really strong shadows. So what I want you to do is, once you get this set up, I want you to think about taking your phone or a flashlight, having somebody else help you, because you're going to need to take a photo. Get a friend or a buddy to hold the flashlight maybe above where this is, but turn the lights off. So I'm going to turn the lights off for a second. If I can find my lights here. Okay. If I turn my lights off, it's going to, I can't get my other light. Okay. Right now my lights are off. It's pretty dramatic already. Okay, pretty cool. It's being lit by, there's windows around, so there's some light streaming in. But what I want you to do is think about lighting it either from up above, let's see if I can find my hand, over here, and aiming down at it with a flashlight, or on the other side, or right directly above it. And see if you can get some cool shadows on it. So turn the lights off and get your camera ready, and I'm trying to find my lights again, and get yourself a flashlight or something so you can do that. All right, and the last thing, I think it's the last thing. Let me see. Yep. So when you take the photo, though, here's what I want you to do. So really listen to this, because I know some people are going to forget, and they're going to take a photo like this, or like this, or like this. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to get what's called eye level with this, with your camera. So I'm going to bring this down so that when I look at it, see if I can get this right here. When I look at this, I'm looking straight on at it, okay? I'm actually bending down right now, and I'm only a few feet off the floor with my camera because it's right directly in front of, not above, not beside, not below, okay? You can see that's below. I'm gonna bring this up until, holy smokes, there I am. I'm right in front of it at eye level. That's where I want you to take the photo. Now you can take eye level and you can take it off to the side if you want. Okay, I'm still at eye level. That's pretty interesting right there. I can take it over here and set up at eye level. That's pretty interesting over here. Don't worry about the junk in the background because we're going to be cropping this too. Okay, but what I don't want is I don't want something from below or from above. Okay, got it? So what I want you to do is set up a couple still lives, at least one, and take maybe 2 to 3 pictures of it with different lighting. And I would like you to pick what you think is what I'm talking about, the best shots of what I'm talking about. And I want you to send those to me. And then between you and myself, we'll pick the one that we're gonna draw. So that is your next job for you guys to do, is set up your still life. It's gonna take a little while, but once you get that photo taken, you can take your still life down, okay? Thanks guys, and I'll talk to you soon.